What is up, y'all? We're back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Terrifier 3 and what could happen with this upcoming horror movie. But before we get into it, definitely smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So with Terrifier 3, we seen the trailer and we seen everything we needed to see. Now, this character, Jonathan, I'm a huge fan of Jonathan, Sienna's brother. In Terrifier 2, he was obsessed with Art the Clown. He was obsessed with everything to the point he had old articles and he had some drawings from his dad that he was very interested in and he was bringing up to his family. And when you sit here and look at the trailer in Terrifier 3, he looks like he wants to pull away from that now. Like he's done with it after being traumatized from the ending of Terrifier 2 and his mother being killed. He looks like he wants to get away, just stay in school and stuff like that. We see Sienna approach him in the trailer saying that she's seen Art the Clown. Now, I talked about this in previous Terrifier 3 videos where I think that Jonathan's going to be killed just because it seems like it has to happen because it's a lot of strings attached between him and Sienna. She just lost her mom, I know, but with Jonathan being killed by Art the Clown, I think it will set that fuel under her to go up against Art the Clown and, you know, possibly take him out and deal with him. And another thing that's very interesting, we know that the pale girl, she actually was killed in a trailer next to the Terrifier that, you know, where the Terrifier 2 final act took place. She was killed outside of that circus or Terrifier attraction and she was found in a trailer. And her parents actually worked at that attraction, you know, that circus and everything. They were involved in the circus and we seen her mom in Terrifier 1. She was killed, you know, and she talks about her daughter, Emily. And Emily, if we look in that article with Jonathan, you know, talking about the little pale girl and just reading up on it, actually Emily is the daughter of that woman who was killed in Terrifier 1. So it's starting to seem very clear to me now that these, you know, entities are being, you know, taken place with the shell of Art's previous victims being the pale girl. So it says that she was killed in a trailer outside of the Terrifier / circus attraction, which it makes sense now because we saw actually Sienna and Jonathan's mom have the clown look eventually after she was killed by Art the Clown, getting a big gunshot to the nugget. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely makes sense, you know, because Victoria actually was one of Art the Clown's previous victims, and now look, an evil entity has took over her. Now, I think that, you know, with the pale girl, we won't see her in Terrifier 3 just because we have Victoria now being Art the Clown's partner now. I think that, yes, when you sit here and think about it, if Jonathan gets killed by Art the Clown, and we know a Terrifier 4 is possibly going to be approaching us after Terrifier 3, he will be, you know, taken over by an entity, an evil entity, and we can potentially see Jonathan get his wish as being Art the Clown, you know, because he's in Terrifier 2, he was obsessed with it. He even had the costume hanging on the back of his door. So I think that we can potentially see in the next Terrifier movie, Jonathan being, you know, an evil entity as a clown, same as Art the Clown and the pale girl. And maybe it'll be a twist with Jonathan's, you know, character as an evil entity, and he helps Sienna in Terrifier 4. You know, maybe he helps her from the other side and he helps her with Art and stuff like that. But I can be wrong. Maybe Jonathan makes it. But for some reason, I feel like he's going to be killed in the end. I feel like in the end, he's going to be killed and it's going to just help Sienna get past that line to take out Art the Clown, you know what I'm saying? And it all makes sense because he's already obsessed with Art the Clown, at least he was in Terrifier 2. But now that it's laid out the way it is with basically Art's previous victims being taken on by an evil entity, it has me thinking about their dad. Now, we heard about their dad, you know, being killed by a tumor, you know, a tumor and everything. He started saying crazy things, you know, on his last days and, you know, just doing things that were unusual for him, and he ends up crashing into a transformer. And, you know, it sounds, you know, like legit, but once we see Art the Clown and everything being brought to our attention and just these pictures their dad drew, which I think their dad is Jason Patrick from the Lost Boys. I think that's obvious. We see a flashback, it seems to be, of them talking with Jason Patrick and a younger Sienna, and maybe he's telling her about these moments and these drawings and her in the warrior costume and what's going to, you know, go on. And I think we're going to get a flashback with their dad talking about everything and just kind of showing her the drawings, because we see a lot of drawings in the background. We know that actually originally we were going to have Art the Clown growing from Victoria in the end of Terrifier 2, you know, from her head, but they did not do that because of James Wan's Malignant, and they didn't want to seem like they were too similar. So the fact that that was already in the air, that was originally going to be like, you know, the ending of Terrifier 2, it makes me think, is that where Art the Clown came from originally? Because that's basically a rebirth, you know, of Art the Clown with Victoria Hayes. You know, even with her having his head, you know, in Terrifier 2, both ways, him growing from her head and him coming out, you know, of her and just being reproduced. I think that that's kind of telling us right there where Art the Clown comes from. So instead of it being a brain tumor, maybe it was Art the Clown, you know, and maybe it was, I know it's, look, it's a lot of layers, but maybe mentally, Sienna and Jonathan's father, these characters he created, you know, like, you know, the warrior costume for Sienna, the demons, and all this is just all in his head. He obviously was a great artist. You know, artists has, you know, great imaginations where they draw things and, on, you know, they come to life on paper. And what if that's where he got that look from? Like, Sienna's and Jonathan's dad literally created Art the Clown from those drawings, and they came to life. And with it being birthed from his brain, where his mind is and everything, his memories, that's, you know, how Art the Clown face came to life, because it was on paper with this clown that he drew. Yeah, I don't sound crazy, do I? Please, I don't sound like, listen to me though. Like, you got to really listen to me, because Damien is an amazing writer. So he does things like this. I think that we can be on to something with this, because when you sit here and think about it, a tumor, no, I think it was Art the Clown. It was rebirthed through Jonathan and Sienna's father, and he has this image from the comics and the drawings of their father. So I mean, you gotta think, if he's drawing, it's all in his brain. So these characters we're seeing, they're coming to life. His story, that's how he knew everything that was going to happen, you know, with Sienna and Art the Clown, the warrior costume, the sword, is because he created it. He's the creator, you know. And I think we're going to get a flashback possibly that moment with Sienna's father and Jonathan's father and Art the Clown, and how Art the Clown was, you know, birthed and created. Just a whole flashback about the creation. But I can be wrong. But it's just very interesting. It just made me start thinking after I kind of watched Terrifier 2 recently again, and just seeing that article with the pale girl. I'm like, bro, so his previous victims, you know, take on this entity, this evil entity, this image. They're like this clown. So what if we see Sienna and Jonathan's father as this evil clown? You know, we see him as this evil clown, similar to Art the Clown. He has paint on his face, but he's evil. But maybe we get a scene or something where he's actually stepping out of that evil, and he's helping Sienna. He's telling Sienna and he's telling Jonathan, because we see this demon like slave or whatever with this chain on her neck, and it's very dreamy. It's very dreamy, and I'm on a boat where I'm thinking this is going to be the Clown Cafe 2.0 scene, and I think that she's going to see her father eventually, and she's going to see her friends, because we saw that she saw her friend Brooke flash real quick in her trailer. So she's definitely seeing, you know, her family and everything. You know, we saw that she saw her mom, you know, in that evil entity form with the Art the Clown hat and everything. So it's crazy. We're starting to see things actually unravel with Terrifier 3. Now, like I said, I definitely think we're going to get a flashback with their father and seeing everything that happened from the creation of Art the Clown and how this story came about. And I think it goes all the way back to that moment with the tumor and just the drawings. I think that's why Damien put that in there, the drawings of the warrior costume and Art the Clown. And I think with that scene with the demon with the chains around his neck, that's where Sienna's going to find out a lot about, you know, this situation and the backstory of it, possibly just flashbacks with her and her father, just her remembering things. That's going to help her, because we see at a point she tells Jonathan, we have to go back to the Terrifier, and, you know, he says it's still buried there, being that sword that she has, and that's going to be the thing that defeat Art the Clown. So they're going to go back to the Terrifier where it, you know, ended in Terrifier 2, get the sword, and obviously that's where a pale girl, her soul is. She was killed at the Terrifier. So it's a lot of things that took place at the Terrifier. When you think about it, you know, I think that can be something also connected to Sienna's father, and just, I think once they go there, it's going to be a lot of things blueprinted out for them to help them with Art the Clown as they start digging. I know it's like a scene with an old church and there, a lot of religious stuff, you know, when it comes to the Terrifier franchise when you sit here and think about it. But yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. Go back to where it started, for real, and we're going to get a lot of knowledge on Art the Clown and Sienna's father, and hopefully we get Jonathan to survive, but it seems like he's going to be killed. And I think if he does get killed, just get prepared. If Jonathan gets killed in Terrifier 3, get prepared to see a little pale boy. If that's, you know, a little pale boy, which is, I mean, he's not a boy, he's an older kid, he's a teenager. But you know what I mean? I'm telling you, in Terrifier 4, he's going to be his own evil entity. Because they foreshadowed a little bit with him already being obsessed with Art the Clown. But I do think that that's how they're going to get the knowledge to take out Art the Clown, is through Sienna's father. You know, he has the photos and the pictures he drew and everything. And it just makes sense now. You know, I think with everything that's going on with Terrifier 3, it's all connected back to a lot of things that happened previously with Sienna's father. And we're going to see a lot of that. And like I said, people are saying that demon is very interesting. I think that's connected to Art the Clown, because why would they show that if it wasn't connected to Art the Clown? And I think that the whole thing with this Terrifier 3, this is going to be like the movie that explains a lot and just gets us grounded for the next film. It's going to be a lot going on with Art the Clown, tailing them and trolling them, and it's going to lead to that final act with Sienna and Art the Clown. And I don't think he's going to be killed, obviously, but it's just going to be something along the way of, it's going to lead into Terrifier 4, and it's going to be that final showdown with Sienna and Art the Clown, being that Jonathan is killed. I think Terrifier 3 will be that to be continued type of movie, and a lot of things will probably hit the fan in Terrifier 4, but I think we're going to have a brutal film of Terrifier 3, from the shower scene with the chainsaw. And we just got a photo, some artwork done that actually reveals, you know, a kill. It's basically a chainsaw that's sawing off Santa's face. So we know that Santa's going to get his face sawed off by Art the Clown. Possibly like in a change of rooms or in the back of the mall, but we know that that's going to happen potentially. So this probably is going to be one of the most brutal films out of the Terrifier franchise. We know we got a brutal, you know, kill in Terrifier 1, and now in Terrifier 2 we got a brutal kill with the alley kill, and now we got the chainsaw scene in Terrifier 3. Santa, this is going to definitely be a gore fest, I think. Pushing forward and everything, we know we got that controversial scene possibly coming up. It's still not confirmed, but you know, get prepared for it with Juliet. And I think that it's going to be crazy, a crazy time in the theaters to see everything happen, especially if you've been following the Terrifier, you know, timeline from All Hallows Eve. I think a lot of stuff is going to make sense with this third film. I think that's why the third film is going to be the way it is, so it all can make sense, because it started to make sense. Like I said, it all started with their father, for real, and I think he's the key to creating Art the Clown. And it said in Emily's article about, you know, her being, you know, killed and everything, that a 10-year-old Emily Crane was last seen alive cheerfully roaming the carnival grounds earlier Friday evening. As the night progressed and the attractions closed, family members grew concerned as to her whereabouts. Several carnival goers worked alongside family and friends to search for the young girl, which came to an end shortly after it began. Crane's lifeless, mangled body was discovered in a makeup trailer just outside the main event grounds. Crane was the daughter of 2 permanent circus performers, whose family also includes a long line of very popular, well-respected circus acts, mimes, and similar talents. So, the key word, mimes. So, who's a mime? Art the Clown. Pale Girl was a mime. You know, when we seen Sienna's mother, she was in mime form. So it's definitely a connection there, y'all, and I think we're going to get a lot of more details of that with Terrifier 3, and just the plot details and stuff is going to be blueprinted and shown to us, and we're going to get a lot of info that we need. I'm so pumped for Terrifier 3. I'm so pumped. I think this is going to be my favorite out the rest of the films. I think this is going to be the best one. It already looks great with the cinematography. The promotion is on point with this. I am so excited. I am so excited for Terrifier 3, and I cannot wait to see how it plays out. I already have my tickets. And yeah, guys, we almost there. We almost there for Terrifier 3, potentially movie of the year for me. But comment down below how you guys feel about everything we just talked about with Terrifier 3. Unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want y'all to hit me up on all my social medias at ILIKESCARY. I want you to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. Peace.